there's anything to take away from this video, it's merely that Marvel Rivals right now is not enjoyable for the solo queue experience. I know the sky is blue, water is wet, very obvious statement, but it's just kind of returning to this game and then playing it on and off, especially as we're nearing the end of season 3.5 or what have you. I'm just kind of... There is a sense of disillusionment where the enjoyment I get out of playing characters like Captain America or Hulk or, really any of the roster, including the new additions, like Blade on a design level is phenomenal, but he's also another DPS. And we already have fucking 8 million DPSs, and you would think with a character roster this size that there would be enough variety in terms of viability and how matches play out in regards to the concurrent meta. And yeah, there are microcosmic examples of those variances. Obviously, team compositions matter, but you really do have like your creme de la creme heroes every fucking season. That there's really no incentive to not run Magneto or Emma, in an instance, just given their viability and damage deflection potential compared to other characters on the roster. You know what I mean? Like, the innate counters that are set up in this game literally eliminate possibilities with certain play styles, even with skill expression and adaptability. Players looking to utilize different tactics on a given hero to really flesh out, that matchup experience. Those things are just not necessarily prioritized when it comes to how this game functions. And even with all of that aside, right, the reliance on the cohesion and synergy of your team working together, as we've stated since basically the beginning of this game, has a domino effect. And when you feel like you're playing flex or one part of the team, but you notice that you're lacking on the other, or even on two concurrent roles, maybe your tanks aren't really, they're diving constantly and just feeding, and then your backline's getting just absolutely mauled, your DPSs aren't getting kills, whatever position, there's always variances. And this isn't necessarily the rotating blame game. But you can't be everywhere at once. I can't be playing tank and then realize that we need healing, and then our two healers won't swap, and then I'm gonna have to now go triple heal, and then hopefully they'll switch to another character. But then again, now we're just leaving a different hole in the boat while I'm trying to plug it with my proverbial finger by swapping to this specific role, and it's just really fucking frustrating. And I have not been enjoying the game in the same way I think that a majority of us did when, it was fresh. And it wasn't just the novelty of it or just having this giant roster with this IP. I really do think like a lot of the characters are super well designed in here. Like, I really like Captain America's kid. I enjoy playing him in the same vein that I really clicked with Ana in Overwatch. I just really enjoyed the aesthetic of the character. I enjoyed how her kit kind of worked in tandem, and that was a character that was primarily support, right? Ana was a healer, and that wasn't necessarily my first pick. I think like every other fucking dork that was playing Overwatch, I wanted to be a Hanzo main and land headshots, but I couldn't aim to save my fucking life. And then playing Ana was like a nice middle ground, because you still feel like you have combat impact with personal skill expression, a la the sleep dart, her bio grenade, and then just landing your shots, right? And to some effect, there are characters in here that have that capacity. But then there's a majority of the cast that, for them to even kind of plateau into that region of accessibility, they need so many other reliant factors that are provided from the synergy of their team to exist. Like, playing Vanguard fucking sucks, even if you're just sitting frontline with your team, because you're effectively just doing damage that's getting healed away by their enemy team, unless you're playing dive, right? And then even if you're playing dive, say you go dive their healers, they immediately, the whole fucking team sees you, even if you flank. Because for whatever reason, they're paying attention. They peel off to go fucking melt you, and then hopefully you can maybe get away. But in the meantime, like, your entire team's already getting melted, And it's either you're fucking stomping a whole team, or you're getting stomped, And the entire experience of Rivals right now is paired with the fact that, especially on payload maps, these matches go on for what feels like 20, 25 minutes, which normally is not a big issue, right? I mean, like, you do want to have the competitive back and forth, but not being able to select specific modes in the competitive playlist is very frustrating, because I think some people would definitely prefer to primarily play Control Point, those 2 rounds, because I feel like that has like a faster, more cohesive pace. And then for the people that do want to play payload, they're more than welcome to. But it is just, it's exhausting, because you feel like you're just fucking playing tug of war in the most unfun way possible. And anytime that you do succeed, it seems like a complete happenstance or fluke. And then anytime that you get fucking folded, you're just kind of sitting there like, what even happened, you know? And then that leads to people spawning at different times and then staggering. And then, you know, this whole fucking games community is utterly toxic as well. You know, if you haven't turned off game chat in there, I would wholly recommend it. And this is just from someone that's like a pretty shit player, right? Like, I regularly hit around plat every season. I've been D-ranking all the way into gold 1. I'm well aware of, you know, even in this game, right, there are times where I overextend, and I'm more than willing to like look back at my gameplay like I am now and acknowledge some issues and see where I can personally improve and maintain my survivability and die less, and, you know, look for more opportune times to being a more effective cat player. But that is just, you know, paired with the minutia of a competitive system and a matchmaking system that seems antithetical to wanting to play this game whatsoever. I don't like the EOMM, or however the fuck you say its structure, in terms of keeping you on the hook, right? Because I'm not even getting that dopamigenic burst of, oh wow, like I'm fucking crushing this game, right? Because like even when you're steamrolling, you're like, oh, am I really playing people in the same rank? And it's just a reminder that, like, even if you're on the opposite end of that experience, in time, probably the next match, or maybe concurrent matches, you will get match made with people that are not going to work, even in spite of communication and talking and pinging and swapping. And you're just going to have a shit show of a fucking match. It is going to kill the experience, and your MMR will suffer. I think this is what's leading to people ultimately playing less, and why I definitely petered off into different games. You know, it's not to say that the game is dying. Obviously, it's not. And, you know, obviously games when they first come out have a larger, you know, concurrent player base, and then it peters off because, you know, other games come out, or people get bored, or they just want to chase like a different experience, or they go back to their old haunts. But I really do think Marvel Rivals has that viability to potentially wedge itself into the pantheon of like the Riot game worlds of League, or of fucking Valorant, or like, you know, Dota, or like they're really gonna have competition with Valve jumping back into the fucking ring with Deadlock, right? Because it seems like that shit's bussin', but that might be too complicated. So they can really hone in on the fact that if they just iron out these fucking kinks and they make the game enjoyable, just on a cursory level, let quick play be fun, right? But I think just in the way the game is designed, in these team-based hero shooters, the incessant reliance on constant patching and needing healers being such an essential aspect of letting most of the character roster kind of effectively work is inevitably just going to lead to the same kind of corrosive path where, unless something fundamentally changes structurally with the game, this is more or less what we're going to be dealing with season to season, in spite of, you know, whatever arguments we want to make about, you know, limited skill expression or shitty matchmaking or needing to get good. And you really have to ask yourself, like, what your tolerance level is if you're playing this game without a group of people that you feel like you can operate consistently with. But yeah, these are just my thoughts. That's why I've pretty much like kind of stopped uploading content on this game, amidst other things as well. But you know, if you guys have listened to me ramble about this, I appreciate it, and I hope you have a good day. And yeah, I guess I'll see you in the next video.